did every time I looked down at my...
So you move out, you move with her, you move out of New Orleans
Out of New Orleans
with your girlfriend.
to New Jersey, back to New Jersey.
Okay, so you go back to New Jersey.
Yes.
Now, what was this? Maybe you could set the mood for that, because I know oftentimes I'll talk to a lot of musicians that leave home, so to speak, to sow their own oats and forge their own path musically, and doesn't work out,
Right.
and they kind of portray it as crawling back with their tail between their legs. What was it like for you? Did you feel like you got out alive and it was a victory and you were going back home, or was it on, I'm just leaving New Orleans on hiatus? I mean, what was your mind
it wasn't
at
a
the time?
hiatus. It wasn't a hiatus, and it was a weird thing. I mean, at the time, I remember it wasn't like I left and nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was a strange time. Like, I remember that now I don't necessarily, like, you see a TV in my place, but if I turn it on once a month, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But at the time, MTV was a big deal, and the Real World was a big deal.
Yeah.
And when I was down here, they were doing the Real World New Orleans, and sure enough, I get a fucking email saying, "Hey, this is XXX from Bunham Murray Productions." I remember it was, "We'd like to use some of your music in the Real World." And I looked at them like, "This is bullshit. This is fucking ridiculous." So I sent them. So sure enough, some of the songs were. It was an I know what was going on. They were using little instrumental parts at very small increments, without me singing, for bumpers to say that they were using New Orleans artists. But theoretically, I was on the Real World New Orleans. I was part of the soundtrack of the thing.
Cool.
Which that kind of led to some different gigs, cross-country gigs and stuff like that, and running around. So it wasn't like I came down here and played in one corner bar and went home.
Right.
But it didn't matter to me. Like, my personality was like, well, I fucking failed. I don't. And then what happened?
Having to move back, you're saying?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Moving back, I was like, well, I fucked that one up.
Okay.
And what happened was, I was, definitely like deflated. And the alcohol found its hole and got in there, not lockstep all day, every day, and not for a long time. Mm-hmm. But it was easy to say, all right, that was a part of my life that really didn't exist anymore.
Now, let me, to make sure I understand this, you're speaking of your time spent in New Orleans, where alcohol crept in, or you're talking about after moving back home?
It definitely it did a good creep in New Orleans.
Yeah.
But when I got home, the feeling like, oh fuck, tail between my legs, I don't want to, I fucked everything up, blah 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 blah. That allowed it to gradually uptake. And again, it didn't uptake to the moon fast. Right. But it was certainly there for a long time. Yeah. And it's a slow process. For me, it was a slow process. Yeah. The end run's always the same. But for me, it was a slow process. It wasn't like I had a drink when I was 17 and that was it, which for some people, unfortunately, it is. Yeah. But, so yeah, I felt deflated. It was easier for me to, and it's shameful, it was easier for me to walk away from things and simply just not involve myself at the risk of failing again. I don't worry about that anymore. Sure. I mean, what's, I woke up this morning. I honestly don't wake up every morning and say, I'm not going to drink today. Thank God that is not the place that I'm in. But 10 people might listen to this record that's coming out. And I still didn't fail. Yeah.
How was this impacting your music? I guess I don't have to really be specific with that. I mean, were you making great music drunk, or playing great music drunk, or did it
I was
affect you much?
Very drunk. I was quite drunk at the tail end of playing in New Orleans. Quite drunk. Yeah, quite. I remember shamefully, I remember driving home a couple times with my wife, or the woman who would end up being my wife. I remember playing at Checkpoint Charlie's, which was around the corner, and I would, roll like a lot of shameful, but roll the dice.
Yeah.
Drive 2 blocks, and she would come in. She's like, "Jesus Christ, Chris, you drove home?" I'm like, it's the truth, but it's shameful.
Yeah.
Certainly not something I'm proud of, but certainly not something I'm going to hide from either.
So how long did you live alone? How long did you live? That was just a short stint in Jersey after you moved away from your parents' house and Frank and all of that?
No,
that was 6-7 years, it seemed like, and then you came down to New Orleans.
Yeah, 6
you
or
met
7.
her shortly after.
No, I met her in New Jersey. We came down together.
Okay, so that 6 or 7 years was the only time that you spent not living alone?
Oh, I met her when I was, let's see, I had like roommates in like, getting out of school and going and living with roommates until I was like, I don't know, 27 or so.
Yeah, but they don't look after you. She was somebody that was looking after you.
No, the people that I was living with weren't looking out
for you. Your roommates are egging things on,
Well, there was, like we said, I was playing solo music.
Yeah.
So if you bring along a buddy, they're going to give the buddy free music anyway. You make it look like he's your, whatever. There was no managers or anything. Make it look like my roommate was along for the ride to be a roadie or whatever.
Sure.
They'll give him free beer because they're not giving 5 guys free beer. They're only giving 2 guys free beer.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah. Well, you're good looking out for your roommate there, buddy. But my point was this.
Oh, Paul.
You didn't spend much time not without the voice of reason, I guess.
I got lucky. No. If I was down here alone, or if I was so deep, I was not deep enough into alcohol, or the grips weren't, the hooks weren't in so far. It's too many. I know the stories of too many guys that the wheels really did go off.
Sure.
When the woman, or it's more guy. I mean, addiction recovery is largely sex segregated. So when I say guys, I'm not like, there's women involved, but they keep the men and the women different.
Right.
But I know lots of guys who didn't have that voice of reason, or they did have the voice of reason and they were too far into it, and both their personalities and the alcohol basically went like this to the person trying to help.
Sure.
And then that typically
you kind of resent, naturally.
Yeah, you want
defense mechanism.
If it's one thing that it showed me, and it showed me a lot of things, but it does control.
Sure.
Addiction controls actions. You do things you just wouldn't do. I would never treat people the way that I did back then.
Yeah.
No.
Before we started recording, you mentioned an album that was kind of born out of this atmosphere of writings, I guess, not necessarily under the influence literally, but tales born from sort of this lifestyle that you were leading.
In 2024, when I moved down here 3 years ago. 3 years, moved back down here 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
And I made the decision to come back. I intentionally did not go looking to join bands. I intentionally came down here to see if I had anything in me as a writer. That was the main focus. Like I said, my main focus is a songwriter. I'm a guitar player, yes, absolutely. I love playing the guitar. But as a focus, the thing that really moves me is a songwriter. So I came down here like a lot of writers do, because this place is the only place. My father died. I fully got divorced. My father died. There was nothing keeping me in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. So I fucked off. And my mother had already been gone. So there really was nothing keeping me there. So I was sober, and I looked around. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? Let me go back. And people thought I was nuts. Admittedly so.
Yeah.
Like if somebody, that had been sober for 2.5 years said they're going to move to New Orleans,
You're going to fight the dragon, buddy. You're going to the cave.
It didn't go over well with certain individuals, for sure.
Sure.
And I didn't do it to thumb my nose. I don't do anything to thumb my nose at anybody.
Yeah.
I knew I would not have gone if I hurt enough people in my life. I wasn't going to hurt my older brothers very close to me. As I told them, I said, Jeff, I'm not fucking moving down there to die. I'm fine. Just trust me on this one. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
So I went, and turns out things are okay. As far as that's concerned. But
the album,
the record, is called Things Have Changed. 2024. I came down here and started writing, and in this room, on this guitar, with one pen that I have over there in my cabinet, I would, the record's called, there's a song called Things Have Changed that is very directly related to alcohol, but a lot of the songs are related to understanding, a second chance, which I effectively got. And some of them have stuff to do with alcohol, some of them don't have things to do with alcohol, but a lot of the record thematically is basically about acceptance, moving forward in spite of failure, and embracing, embracing the thing that you really are. And I know one of the things that I have an addiction to alcohol, but that's not what I am.
Yeah.
And I was able, thank God, I was able to drop that. And then that record came out, and this new record, Good Crook, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. It's got somebody who I think is we spoke of Dean before. Dean plays bass on a few of the tracks. Dean's a killer fucking bass player. Absolute brilliant ears on this guy. He can pick shit up instantly. Like, I'll play at Brat's tomorrow, and I'll give him like a quick skeleton. Like, here's this, this is a song in C, 1625, but I'm subbing this. Just be careful around the bridge. He cuts me off every time. He's like, he's all right, I got it. And sure enough, if he'll do it, and he was brilliant. And the record, Good Crook, was cut live, like everything that Things Have Changed, all one shot. Like, one thing from Back to Frank, if you can't do it in one shot, don't fucking do it.
Yeah. Like,
there's a reason why there's hundreds of Joe Pass records, because when Joe Pass played in New Orleans, somebody had the presence of mind to pay him, who knows, $200 to do a recording session. He came down, played the standards in an afternoon, one shot, played 10 songs. There's your record. That I never got away from. I'm not somebody who overdubs. I'm not somebody. I don't do it. It's kind of an Achilles heel sometimes, because in the recording process, you get to the end and you clam it. I remember sitting there with Jake, and he's like, "Wait a minute, we can fucking fix that. Hold on." I said, "Jake, that's not the way I do things."
Well, I was about to point out it might be an Achilles heel, but it's also a higher standard to hold yourself to, which, that's something that there needs to be something said for that,
I thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, that is something that was ingrained to me by somebody who I respected very much. If I'm purporting to be a guitar player and a singer, at the very least, I should be able to. This is my opinion. I know that, and the type of music that I make is it's very stripped down. Like, I'm plugged into this amplifier. There's no guitar pedals. There's none of that shit. It's as simple as it gets.
Yeah.
And what I want to be able to do is be able to do it in one shot. And I love the fact that people have. You play the guitar and play a full set, or play a whole record, but definitely a full set. I'll take chances. I don't really give a shit anymore. Like, I'll take musical chances, harmonic chances, and clam up shit all over the place. However, you do this long enough. I remember going back to Frank again. I remember fucking something up, and he's like, "Chris, we're playing jazz. Because you make a mistake once, it's a mistake. You make a mistake twice, it's style." So, and that's something that I've heard. He didn't coin that. That's something I've heard from a lot of different guys, players, women, and women players, guys, but it doesn't matter. But I'm not afraid to make a mistake, and I want to be able to do this stuff in one shot.
Sure. It's also a recording style that's kind of been left to pass too. I mean, people are isolating things and all digital touch-ups aside, but the old style was to get together in the same room and do it. I think to that point I had brought up, there's several songs that I could think of. One's by Chicago. In the beginning, they left it on in the beginning of this song, and I can't remember the title, but he says, like, take 56. He's not bullshitting. Nobody laughed. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because they had to do it over and over again because that's how they were recording. And there was a lot of pieces in that band.
I'd shoot myself to take 56.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't do it. I'd be like, no, I'm moving on. I can't do it.
But I mean, it was more common. It's like a thing of yesteryear, I guess. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just a digital invasion or something, but not many people revere that as I think should. It might be some sort of purist concept at this point, I'm not sure, but I can understand what goes into that.
Fucking hill.
Well, like I said, it's a standard. Mm-hmm. It's a higher standard to hold oneself to and hold others to, so it should be revered. Maybe the value is depleted because everything is digital now, including our mediums and streaming and such. So people don't care so much about the purist. You know, maybe the vinyl collector does or something. You know, I'm not sure, but it seems kind of silly, but I think that's awesome.
I think it
should be in print on the album. Like, look, this is how this was done. You know.
It's gonna the fact that it's all in one shot. I mean, it's very. I remember calling Jake Eckert, the from
River
Rhythm
Shack.
from the yeah. And the quick call beforehand. I'm going to bring Johnny Vodakovich in, and we're going to cut everything live in a day. And he's like, "You're going to do a record in a day?" I'm like, "Jake, I know we don't know each other. I know what Johnny is. I know the type. I know his ability level.
Yeah.
We're going to cut a record in a day." Sure enough, we cut a record in a day.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vodakovich is on, I think he's on 7 of the songs or 6 of the songs, something like that. And those were done, Johnny's, I wasn't going to ask him to sit there for 12 hours. We went in there, I ran the skeletons through. Yeah, Chris, okay. Fucking 4 hours later.
Lifer, huh?
4 hours later, we're fucking hugging, all done. We got a record.
Nice.
And I would not have it any other way.
Yeah.
First of all, you could probably tell by talking to me, I am as ADD as fuck.
Yeah.
And I do not have the patience of that regard.
It's funny. I had to watch my own interview, maybe even more than once, with Dean Zucchero, because he seemed like he didn't appreciate what I just said. Like he didn't. But in retrospect, when I went back and watched this,
I'm not laughing at you. I'm telling you why I'm laughing.
No, but I'm sure it makes sense to you, because when I went back and watched it in retrospect, it was that he was just waiting for me to finish because he already got the concept. He already knew. He knew where this was going, and he would say "yeah" before I finished the rest of my sentence. And I thought he was just being short, but it wasn't that. It was just that he was on to me. He already knew where I was going with it, and he was ready to respond. He gave me meaningful responses, so I didn't feel like it was a complete blow-off. But you second guess yourself sometimes, like, did I really make an impact with this one, or do you know what I mean?
With Dean?
He's super intuitive, because one of the things that he brought up, and it has to do with this the recording style that we're talking about as well. He was talking about how musicians can read each other, and he was forget the guy's name, but he was using a certain drummer for his album, and he was talking about how that drummer was watching his fingers, because his drummer knew when to lay into the inflection and when to back off according to how he was using his fingers. And I was like, that's some magic right there, right? That's some hocus pocus. I thought that was crazy, but I think it goes a longer way in so much that everybody's got a little bit of this ADD in them, and you might have to be a great musician, because you got to be watching and listening and playing all at the same time, But he's a prime candidate to kind of illustrate your point,
Certainly, I've had I play with Dean every month at Brats, and I consider Dean a friend. I think he does me, and people, they know that we have an association. And anybody that I know that knows that I know Dean, they kind of say the same thing. They're like, I don't think Dean likes me. And I was like, he likes you.
Yeah.
He's just a stoic dude. And he's like, this, whenever I talk about him, he's like, he's the Zen master.
Sure.
A bomb could go off during a gig. He'd still be plucking away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got a lot under his belt.
He does.
And, you know, I thought to myself, maybe that's, you know, upstate. That's the Yankee thing, like New York, New Jersey thing. And I figured he lived a fast-paced life and he's been in a lot of places. So, but then when I heard him break down that recording process, I was like, this dude's intuitive, you know? And I kind of read into that as, I guess, a characteristic of a good musician. You know, some people are laid back and like you were talking about, Vidakovic is more laid back and maybe doesn't try to beat you to the point, but it's got to be an advantage to some degree to be, you know, wired like that. Do you know what I mean? How is it for you? You said, you know, you're ADD, you feel that way.
It's not like playing drums or playing bass or playing the guitar. There's a certain, look, none, you know, Dean or Johnny or me or any number of players that are good at what they do. It's not a question of like where you put your fingers on the bass guitar. All that shit's covered.
Right.
It becomes at a certain point for me at any rate what you don't play. Mm-hmm. Because you know if you not certainly not that I could play or anybody could play everything, but once you get to a certain technical level, which takes a long time to get to, it's not a function of not being able to play the song. It's being able to do what's right for that song, and that takes disassociation, because I do think it takes so much time to get to a certain ability with this. Whether you play bass or drums or guitar or whatever, all of the speed that consists, you've got it on your fingers. But that sure as shit doesn't mean you should use it at
all the time, right? Yeah,
no,
that's a super important point that needs to be stated for sure.
Johnny, I mean, when Vidakovic is a free jazz drummer, and I pulled him in to play basically, you know, a quasi blues jazz country record, I knew what I was doing. I was asking him to come out of his comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, he came, or not his comfort zone, but out of his preferred wheelhouse.
Sure.
Is not blues music. It's not blues-based Americana songwriter stuff. He fucking came out, you know, he's an affable guy, super friendly guy, super nice guy. But when it came down to it, he listened as intently as anybody. I was running this, you know, here's the quick changes, Johnny. He's looking at me really carefully, tapping his foot, and when it came down to business, Travis Mark, the drummer for my band is The Real Deals, mm-hmm. The Raw Deals, not The Real Deals. Travis Mark is the real deal, as is Johnny.
Travis is the real deal.
That's what was in my head. I'm like, Travis is the real deal. Johnny played on the record.
Yeah.
Travis, when things move forward. And we're running around like, you know, we play live here. Travis is the raw deals, mm-hmm. right? And I do that very specifically with the drummer because that allows me to do more harmonically here. Mm-hmm. I don't play generally with a bass player because I can play the bass parts on the guitar,
okay,
and wiggle around an awful lot more without constriction.
Yeah. And
what Johnny did, sitting with him, was like an exercise in mastery. There's no other word for it. And like we said before, I've said this is the best way I can describe it. If I considered sitting in being a fly on the wall watching Matisse paint, mm-hmm. and he was going to paint a painting that was in a number of reds, and there's 20 different reds on the palette. He grabs a brush, looks at the palette for a couple seconds, and intuitively picks the right red and intuitively hits the right stroke, because he's done it so many fucking times. It's an extension of what he wants, not of what he's thinking. That's what Dean is. That's what a lot of these guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that's what I am. It's definitely what Travis is.
Yeah, but you said something that I mean, I've heard it a time or two before, and it kind of, knowing what notes not to play, I think is the way that you phrased it, and it's a demonstration of tact and poise that only comes with a matured musician.
Yeah.
A lot of people flex, especially in the beginning, you know. And that's understandable, but knowing when to fall back and what not to play, and just kind of, sometimes you got to be the glue for the song while somebody else takes their solo or something. So I mean, I understand it and I respect it, and it's something that people don't notice as much as the guy standing out front doing the blazing solo. Do you know what I mean? But it's equally as important, if not more so.
Dean is brilliant at that.
Yeah.
There's a couple of the songs that he plays on this record where the bass is almost implied. He's just letting it. He's letting it, like he's allowing the bed to go under it, because some of the stuff can be a little, you know, not complicated, but polyrhythmic on the guitar.
Sure.
And Dean went the other way and just put the roots in there, which is what most bass players are going to do. But he could have, a less confident player could have been like, well, I'm going to play bass on this record, so I'm going to play the bass on this record.
Yeah.
No, he went boom and let it sit, and that's playing bass guitar.
How much did you seed him with?
Not much.
Not much.
Not much. Not much.
And you were.
I just asked him. He came in. The record was cut live with Johnny, and Dean flew in the parts afterwards. Like, Dean wasn't there on that day. I'm dumb, but I'm not stupid. And Dean, it was Dean's suggestion. To his credit, he's the glue. He's a lot of responsibility for how this record came out.
Yeah.
He said, consider putting, when we first did it, he listened to a couple of demo tapes. He said, well, you should put horns on this, and you should have female vocals on this, and you should. I'm like, no, that's not the stuff that I hear in my head. And he said, bass guitar couldn't hurt in a couple of them. And I said, Dean, if you think you can make them better, by all means, come in and play them. And he's like, well, 1, 2, 3, I could definitely make better. And sure enough, he did.
So did you opt against the horns and the female vocals in these songs?
Yeah, it's, if for no other reason, that it's not what I hear in my head as far as how I want them to be taken. I mean, I do spend a lot of time on the lyrics. The lyrics are certainly, they're thoughtful for sure. As my phone goes off, I'm sorry, David.
No problem.
But I wanted sparse instrumentation. When I play live, I'll play live solo pretty much half the time. And what I do with the guitar when I'm playing solo is basically, it's not an undertone, it's not a bed, it's basically a 50-50. Me singing the songs and the guitar almost being like another, not an accompaniment, but an equal part in the whole parade.
Sure.
For what it's worth.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a strummer, so with Dean suggesting the horns and the drums. Now, Dean's record is brilliant. I mean, as he's got everybody in this town that can play blues in any way. Not anybody, but he's got heavy hitters, Sumpie and Sansone, and a host of other guys, all different styles. Galia is doing her thing on there.
Right.
And Dean hears. I know Dean, when he hears the music that he writes in his head, he hears horns and background vocals, and that's the type of songs he writes.
Yeah.
I don't write the type of songs Dean writes, but he sure as hell understands how to play the songs that I write. That's for sure. You
feel like the songs that you write just don't have a space for it? I mean, is it the frequency or intonation, the high timbre instruments that you're not going for, or does it take up too much space away from the message that you're trying to get out? Like, what makes it a part that doesn't fit? Because it's clearly a part that you can appreciate. You've complimented it on his album.
Oh yeah, no,
there's a time and a place for everything, so to speak. But can you maybe specify how it was a misfit, I guess? Or is it just simple as not hearing it?
I think I can, Dave. I never really thought about it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of whatever song that I write.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit down here and I can play you the song the way that I think it should be heard. And if I rely on horn hooks, or think about James Brown, think about Sex Machine.
Okay.
How Sex Machine starts. Take that first horn, those horn stabs out. Was bam 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 pop bam bam.
Yeah.
Bam. Take those horn stabs out. It's not the same song.
No.
James Brown is James Brown. James Brown is a full band, 2 drummers, 10 horns, 5 background singers, and he was the best at it that ever did it.
Yeah.
There's a different take here. I want to be able to do this with one guitar.
Gotcha.
So maybe that's it. Maybe it's as simple as that. And maybe I'll change. I'm not object to doing it by any stretch. No way.
Yeah.
When I hear one with a, the next record's already written. It's very much a songwriter record.
Really?
Yeah. It's very much. It's this one. There's a lot of blues elements in Good Crook. The next record. There's some blues elements, but I certainly wouldn't. I'm quite sure that let's just say Good Crook does get a little bit of traction. The next record's going to be like, oh, this is not Good Crook.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be. I really don't.
Yeah.
There's a drive you mentioned before about being driven. I have a drive to write the songs, and the songs will go the way they go. And the next the last 6 months I've written the collection of songs I think is pretty good, but it's not. They're not blues based. They're just not. They're more like singer songwriter based with embellishments on the guitar, I guess.
It's funny that you said the singer songwriter part, because in my mind I was thinking back to Bob Dylan and how he pissed off a ton of people when he went electric. So I mean, it's a constant story. It's the same song over and over again that the fans and the artist are butting heads because that last album that they loved sounds nothing like this new album, and they're unsure of that, or they don't appreciate him for it. They wanted more of the same. But it ultimately is not just a musician's choice, it's a musician's pursuit. It is a musician's life and a musician's quest, hopefully, to explore sonically what can be, and so to pander to the audience for that last #1 single on the last album and try to do that again, I see that personally from a mile away when I hear the next album, and it pisses me off. Or, I'm disappointed in it. Like, how could you? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a bummer. I don't want to hear that. Even though I love that song back then to death, don't, like, regurgitate it to me again in some different form on the next album. So, I mean, you can't stop to really worry about stuff like that.
I don't think you can. Because then you're... the second... I take a lot of pride in the stuff. I take the songs, the stuff that I do, the music that I write, the music that I play very seriously.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I really do believe anybody who's doing anything artistically, if they don't do it for yourself first to please yourself, you're selling something. It's transparent.
Sure.
It's transparent. I mean, I think if somebody says, they really love like whatever the newest, hottest pop music, you know, I don't even know how to describe it, hot beat that people like to dance to and shit.
Sure.
I think if you really go to those people and go, do you really think this person, or the 50 people that are involved in writing these songs, and which a lot of those songs literally have 30 writing credits.
Sure. Unbeknownst to the
30 writing credits.
Common
to those
fan,
songs.
Yeah.
And it works for them. If fair fucks to them, go for it. But is the main writer of the song shooting for, if it's a hook, like a very, okay. I was talking with this yesterday with my girlfriend. Remember the song "I'm Too Sexy for the Song"? I'm too sexy for
the shirt.
For the shirt.
Yeah.
Okay. You and I could sing every fucking word of that.
Yeah.
Did those guys write that to be artistic? They might have. Did they write it to sell records? They might have. That's a different type of song. But if you listen to a song that is, obviously clearly written to be viral or something like that, there's people. Literally, people will look for viral hooks in songs.
Yeah.
Those are written to be consumed. It's a commercial endeavor. I understand that. That's what people want to set. People want to make money. People want to sell their songs. I get it. To me, I make a distinction. Other people might not. Other people might think I'm fucking stupid or wrong. Yeah. And that's fine.
I suppose. I think maybe it goes back to the lyrics, because you can have a pop artist that'll write a song that's near and dear to their heart and give them a sense of closure, but then it's dressed up in a pop song, so it seems to have less depth. Do you know what I mean? So I guess to each his own, you know?
To each his own. I mean, and I'm thinking of like pop stuff like, there's great, right? I'm not, by no means am I saying all pop music is bad. I know it's like a cool thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, it was a poor example, but I think you understand where I'm coming from.
Oh, no, I totally understand. I don't want to misconstrue I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying. Pop music, some of it I like, some of it just like anybody else, I don't like.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I do like smacks of being creative and artistic, and doesn't smack of being, well, lots of people are going to jump on this one.
Yeah.
Baby Shark. Okay, there's a perfect example. I'm racking my head. I'm like, where's a fucking song that isn't really artistic, but they hook the shit out of it?
Oh, Blair at the
Baby
truck
Shark
all the time. No, I'm kidding.
And look, I am quite sure that Baby Shark people live in incredibly nice houses with beautiful cars and live beautiful lives.
In a laboratory that was full of baby subjects that were studied, and they had to have them wired up and churn out that song because it checks every box in a baby, that's for sure. They can't stop singing. And you or I couldn't after hearing it, and we hated ourselves for it, but it worked, you know?
It did work. And I've had more conversations than I'd care to admit with Travis.
Yeah.
And we talk about all sorts of different things and different music, different approaches to what to do, how to do it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I come back to the same thing. I said, Travis, as long as the stuff that we are doing is coming from a place of a creative intent and it's fucking handmade.
Yeah.
I'm like, the second I start going to a sequencer or start going to, now there's great guitar players that use guitar pedals for any number of reasons. I'm not one of them. I don't want anything to do with them. They're complicated. I got enough problems here.
Yeah.
But as long as it's handmade, I'm in. When it starts to become digital for my taste, not for, do I love music and love dance music? And I can't dance, but do I love some pop music? Love is a strong one, maybe. But I like it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to write it, and I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to sequence something in a computer and sing over a drum beat.
Right.
I'm going to have a drummer play the drum beat.
How integral has, and I mean, I know the answer to this question, but maybe you can elaborate. But I mean, how integral has live performances been, I'll try to speak English here in a second. How integral has live performance been for your, writing and recording?
Oh, critical. It's critical.
Yeah.
Like the writing, the songs that I write, one of the fun things about about the doing the solo thing, the thing that really draws me to doing solo, is I can play them however I want. I can, you can play there's 20 different ways to play there's hundreds of different ways to play The Thrill Is Gone, or take a jazz standard, Autumn Leaves. Anybody who can play any jazz instrument whatsoever has their own take on Autumn Leaves. I think if you probably look on Spotify, there's thousands of them.
Sure.
So what I do is basically, what I try to do, it's weird, it's hard to boil down, but some of the songs, a small percentage of the songs that I write, generally there is kind of a version in my head that I want to shoot for every time. And some of them are so wide open that I'll sit with Travis on Sunday night. I know we're playing together on Sunday night. And he'll look at me, and with Travis's South African accent, he's like, "What are we doing next, Chris?" I said, "Travis, I have no fucking idea." And I'll just start, I'll start playing one, and I'll have an idea of like 2 or 3 that I could pick from and work into like a guitar thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, it moves in. So I learn very quickly what people respond to in crowds, and I learn that what they don't respond to. And sometimes the stuff that I think is, depending on where you're playing. If
I was
I'm
going to say
playing
every
in
crowd
a
is
bar,
different. Yeah.
Every crowd's different. If I'm playing in a room that is more of like a listening room, a songwriter showcase, a place like Snug Harbor, stuff like that, where people are going to listen.
Yeah.
Then I can go on, some of the songs that will have like a metaphor that'll extend through. I learned very early on, years ago, I learned that you can't expect people generally to listen to more than a chorus, or to walk away with more than a chorus.
Yeah.
So you learn what works, and you learn what doesn't work, and sometimes if it doesn't work, it doesn't mean it's bad. Sometimes it means it's fucking awful. But sometimes,
sometimes it's just not the crowd.
It's not the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're, it's just not. It boils down to who are you playing for, where are you playing, the vibe of the situation. Are am I literally playing at a bar or a place that's expecting very heavy blues stuff? Well, if I break out like a more pensive singer-songwriter song, it's gonna fall flat. It doesn't matter if it's fucking John Denver singing; it's gonna fall flat.
Yeah,
it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
But
it keeps your chops up. I mean, as far as the impact of a performance on your recording career, it keeps your chops
100%.
up, especially if you're trying to do it all in one take. You got to be able to whip them out.
Yeah. And I mean, part of the jazz harmony stuff that we spoke about earlier, a lot of it, in the way that I put it on the guitar, is it's substantive harmony, taking a chord and utilizing other chords that are connected but not necessarily exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And you can string them out, and the permutations can get pretty weird pretty quickly.
Yeah. And
let's just say that Dean and I are playing, and there's a pass where I'm like, well, let me try to work this in here, and I'll fucking try to wiggle all this stuff around and come back to the one. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's fine. And I'm not getting paid to play perfect versions of anything.
Sure.
And that's what I love about the guitar. The people, we talked about the guitar before, like, I have a tremendous amount of respect for classical guitar players. Mm-hmm. The technique and the technical ability is insane with some of those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But the conceptually, like if you're playing, if you're playing if you're playing a Mozart, Tchaikovsky, or whoever else they're playing on the guitar, theoretically, there's a perfect version of that to be played. You're reading the perfect version with the perfect inflection, perfect volume, perfect touch, perfect, all the terms in the huge gradations in volume that come with classical music.
That's spelled out meticulously.
It's spelled out, and there's a perfect version. And everybody who's listening, if they're a fan, they want that version. And if you hit a clam, you're fucked. You're a shitty guitar. With me.
Well, I was going to bring up the part that, you said you're not playing covers, you're playing all your original material.
Nobody knows if you fuck
People don't know if you fuck up on that, right? Yeah.
That's what I was like. So many times I've played with songwriters. I mean, the gigs kind of run the gamut from, band gigs to solo gigs to songwriter gigs. It's all different crowds. And I'm friends with some songwriters like, oh, I fucked it up. I'm like, nobody knows the goddamn song anyway.
Yeah.
Just the whole part of being a live player is being able to fuck up.
Yeah, or willing even.
You got to be willing.
Yeah.
You have to be willing. If you're not willing, it doesn't make you a bad player. Some people are. I know some guys that are incredibly hard on themselves. They'll go back to like little passes, and I'm like, nobody heard that. Nobody heard the mistake, but they'll be like, "Oh, I played X. I played this scale over that fucking in a jazz con. This scale was wrong over that chord." I'm like, "You're fine."
Yeah, that's funny.
The police aren't at your door.
Yeah, you would think, huh? That's funny. I wanted to point out to you that you were speaking of Snug Harbor as more of a listening parlor than a
great room
than a
to
juke
listen
joint
to music.
or a bar. And I'd spoken with a musician in an interview, and she was speaking of the Bluebird Cafe, I believe,
in Nashville.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And how it was kind of frowned upon if you were talking during the music. You weren't supposed to be speaking over the music. They developed that culture. They kind of nurtured that crowd. And I bring up these things to ask you, I mean, how many of these places are left? Because it seems uncommon to me. I haven't gone out looking for them, but when I was going out every night, I wasn't running across these places too often,
I can say this much. One of the coolest things for me, most satisfying thing for me as a performer is when I can turn a room into a listening room, because then I know they're listening.
That's cool.
There are not many listening rooms only. There are not many. There's not many.
Yeah.
But it is entirely possible. Travis calls it the pin drop. He's like, Chris, you had quite a few pin drops tonight. And I'm like, I know, Travis. People were listening to the words. So I think as a performer, you can create that. Mm-hmm. Not all the time. And I don't expect that to be all the time.
I like that you look to turn a room around as opposed to looking for the room that suits you best. Because basically the places that you and I are speaking of are those places. The places that are supposed to be kind of tailor-made for a musician. Right? It's a crowd that goes there intentionally to listen to music, whereas there are a million places out here and everywhere else in every metropolis where it might be a rowdy crowd. And if you can turn that crowd around, then there's something to be said about that performance. And that's kind of cool because most people would opt for the listening room, I want to get my music heard, not I want to use it to change the crowd,
If there's, from a performer standpoint, I don't give a shit if people are talking. I really don't.
Yeah.
What does irk me as a performer on a very, very basic level is that if there's tables or seats in front of the stage and people are clearly there to listen to the music.
Yeah.
And you sit at one of the and a group of people sit at one of those front tables and start blabbering away very loudly. God, that annoys the hell out of me. I won't mention his name, but a very good friend of mine plays at a bar down on Decatur. And I went down there a couple months ago to watch him. And it was a thinly populated, it was a happy hour gig. He's a good songwriter, great guitar player. And there were a group of like drunk 25-year-olds that were right in front of the stage.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, and they're right there. And one of the women and one of the guys is yelling And I'm like, what do I do here? And I'm looking at my buddy, and I'm looking, and you know, we all know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it! I was like, just fucking stop. Just cut it off, and maybe they'll leave. And sure enough, they left. So I was like, what the fuck? If the thing that does irk me, it does. I mean, granted, you're in a bar, dudes are playing the guitar, playing music, whatever. Everybody's there for their own purposes. But there are, if it's a guy that's singing songs in a happy hour setting or in a songwriting setting, and you want to talk, that's fine. You don't have to scream right next to him. I'm not shitting you, Dave. This close.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is
the inconsideration.
Yeah, it's New Orleans. People drink a lot. I get it. I understand that, but.
You know what? It begs the question. You asked the question literally. I don't know the answer to that. What are you supposed to do? The first thing that comes to mind is I was watching the Bootlegger the other night with Robert Mitchum from like 55, and I could tell you what Robert Mitchum did. You know what I'm saying?
What did he do?
He walked up to the table and grabbed the guy by the tie and said, "She's trying to make a living, buddy." And then
yeah, I mean, I was torn. I did not. I know. I mean. They were younger.
Yeah.
I know what I look like. It wouldn't be the first time I've been, what's the word? Taken for like a police officer or something like that. I know I can come off as a little bit stern.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to do was get my friend in trouble or get in a fight with 3 25-year-olds who would kill me.
Yeah.
You know, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
It's a tricky, performing in public's a tricky one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen. It very rarely happens. It very rarely happens. You find the people who want to, in my experience, this is what happens. The people who really want to watch you play come up close.
I mean, we're talking about different material altogether because, and the distinction needs to be made because if any of these people are from out of town and they go on Bourbon Street, they're going to see a cover band cranked up with an MC in between songs, and it's meant to contend with and be that. Yeah. So the setting is imperative, I suppose. You mentioned earlier that you were going to play a song for us that's on the.
Sure.
What is it? Where's it from? Tell them the album and the name and all of that stuff.
The album is Good Crook, and I got an interesting story a couple weeks ago. A friend of mine, JC, is a poet, and he holds at his place like a poetry thing. Okay. I'm not a poet, but you know, he has it. 10 people are in this room, and I'm over there, and they did their poetry, and a couple guys played a couple songs, a couple girls played songs. And I get up there, and it was a poem, poetry night. So some of it was pretty heavy shit.
Yeah.
And I had a brand new song. I remember at this point, you know, that sequence of events. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to play the song "Pirates" that I wrote for the first time. But it was pensive, and it was like a little bit of a heavier song.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh fuck me, I'm not going to do this. So I play this song called "Snakes," and the second I start playing, there's two young girls at the party. One of them just graduated from college, and it was a heavy vibe in the room. And I'm like, well, let's fucking lighten the load a little bit. So I'm going to play this love song called "Snakes," and as soon as I do the beginning flourishy bluesy shit, they start screaming their heads off. Sure enough, I wake up the next day. JC sent me the video. I'm like, whatever. I'll put it on the internet, and the million people watched the video.
Beautiful.
And then 1,300,000 people watched the video, and then more people watched the video.
Yeah.
So. Snakes is the first single off this record.
You kind of turned the room. You were practicing what you preach. Yeah.
I turned the room. So here's Snakes.
All right.
Love to watch it pass. What you do to me, babe? You don't know. Send me packing a Sunday mass. Tough to get you slipping through all these snakes in the grass. Hate to see you go. Love to watch it pass. All the tea in China. If that's still legal to say. Wouldn't make me happy without you on that boat, headed back my way. If I'm counting, and I'm counting, and it's been a minute or two, I'd like to take this time to pause. Sweet Jesus, get a look at you. Hate to see you go. Love to watch you leave. Here's to hoping we both got an ace in the hole, tucked up tight under our sleeve. Hate to see you go. Love to watch you pass. What you do to me, baby? You don't know. Send me packing a Sunday mass. Tough to get to you slipping through all these snakes in the grass. Hate to see you go. Love to watch you pass.
Beautiful, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
That was awesome.
And they were fucking screaming their heads off the whole thing, and a million people there, as they're still screaming their heads off.
The reaction videos, man. I don't know what it is, but people love to see other people react to stuff.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And that's the
compelling.
I mean, yeah. Look, man, you could see it when I play. This is the thing I love to do.
Yeah.
It's been sitting here. It's busy. I mean, this record has taken the prep and the publicity and all the other shit's taken a lot of my time.
Yeah.
This is the thing I really love to do.
Sure. And when is it? It's not out yet. It's coming out, correct?
That song will come out June 20th.
Okay.
Streaming June 20th. The second single is going to come out in mid July, which has a New Orleans definite New Orleans connection. We could talk about that if you want. And then the record Good Crook comes out August 1st.
Gotcha. How many songs?
12.
Wow. Okay.
12. Yeah. And I think it came out to be, I believe, six have me and Johnny. 3 have me, Johnny, and Dean, and the remaining 6 are just me solo.
All right.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Johnny Vidakovic and Dean Zaccaro.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool, man. I'm excited for you. I know this, the promotion and things of that nature, I didn't touch on it back when you were talking about playing festivals and things like that. How were you handling things back then, and how are you handling things now? Because it's two different landscapes, essentially, back then and now.
Yeah, I mean,
the internet.
Now, the internet allows for extremely widespread dispersion of stuff, but that doesn't mean anybody's listening to it.
No.
And at this point, what my any success that I have at this point, and I do stress any, and not the, any success that I have, is from the internet. I mean, it's something that is pushing it far and wide, and that the internet finds the gate.
Yeah, but you know what? You're too quick, man. I think I would rather hear you say that the internet has sort of enabled your success or your talent to flourish, because the talent is what enables you to succeed, not the internet, not anything else. You know what I mean? So I mean, not to overshadow that in the very least. Obviously the substance was there. But like you pointed out, I mean, the internet and what it hands over the keys to in so much as distribution, I mean, it allows people to put out anything. So, I mean, the market is oversaturated, so it's easily unheard as much as it is easily heard. True. You know, it's kind of a dichotomy there.
I am lucky in that seemingly the demographic at this point, not seemingly, definitely, the demographic at this point, is a little bit older. You know, it's not a 22-year-old kid that's generally listening to this type of music. Hopefully that changes with a little bit more of exposure. Yeah. But I am lucky in that the demographic that does listen is a little bit older, so they understand they're not digital natives. They understand that in order to do this, it takes money to do anything. So if they go to Chris Vincent shameless plug, chrisvincentneworleans.com, and there's T-shirts and the old record, soon to be older record. The Things Have Changed is there, and that's a pretty reasonable source of dissemination of the stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's people that are, OZ is great for playing on the radio. There are radio stations that play a lot of Things Have Changed. Yeah. But again, like Things Have Changed was a test balloon that I largely did on my own, and I made a tremendous amount of mistakes. And this time around, Good Crook has got there's a publicity agency in play. There's a radio promotion team in play. So we'll see what happens. Got more guns with this one, huh? There's more bullets in the gun. Yeah. There's more bullets in the gun. So I don't know. I would be surprised if a little bit more happens with this one. I would be surprised if a little bit more didn't happen with this one than the last one. But I think the songs are better. Mm-hmm. It's a good. I can honestly say that I think it's a good record, and I wouldn't put it out if it wasn't. And I know that for years I have been a Vidakovich fan. And he banged the shit out of this. I mean, if you're a drummer, anybody who digs a drummer, watch this guy and listen to him in action. And it is a master playing blues music. It's a roots record. It's not a blues record. It's not a jazz record. It's not a country record, but it kind of is a blues, jazz, and country record.
Well, I mean, you're drawn to those descriptive terms because it is an amalgamation of all those things. That's what I sense.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely an amalgamation. I mean, like, styles of music, I think, can be extremely restrictive. Like,
absolutely,
very restrictive.
I hesitate to ask.
I know.
Whoever I'm interviewing to describe, like, what genre are you? That's not what I'm going to say, but I kind of have to get the person I'm interviewing to phrase it in such a manner to where the person on the other end of this camera or speaker gets a feel for who we're talking about, or who we're talking to, And it's terrible because I feel as though I'm stopping a talent and saying, pigeonhole your craft for the novice out there, you know what I'm saying? It's basically what I'm doing, but I mean, let's start somewhere and then take it.
Agreed.
Elsewhere,
Unfortunately, I think there's a tremendous amount there's so many distinctions that separate us now.
Absolutely.
Where it's something that I learned in sobriety. Mm-hmm. This is not something that I learned previously, just about people. If I'm wearing these boots, if you don't like these boots, that doesn't mean that you don't like me or think I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
It's that you just don't like the boots. And we've been conditioned with, let's just use this example with the blues. If blues isn't this parenthetical thing, then it's really not blues, and you're not really playing the music the way it should be done. Fuck that. I could give a shit about that. I mean,
dude, I could give you binoculars, a shovel, a divining rod, and ask you to go find sophistication. It's going to take you a fucking while. You know what I mean? You're asking a lot out of these people. Because
I'll give them songs, and if they like them, they like them.
There's,
and if they don't, then they'll find
It's a mixed bag is what I'm saying. I'm not calling everybody stupid or ignorant. I'm just saying, for some people, music's in the background. For some people, they don't care about music at all. And then for some people, they love music and they don't know why. Or for some people, they love music and maybe they kind of like electric guitars a little bit, so they find themselves listening to rock more often. The aficionado is hard to find. And, you know, some of them are just stuck up snobs and some of them actually know what they're talking about. But, I mean, you're asking a lot out of your crowd is what I'm saying, you know?
I think it boils down to there's a thread.
Yeah.
Regardless of the style of accompaniment of music that goes along with it, whoever's writing the song, if it's a song that resonates from experience and from life and from actual real life issues, life journey, whatever the case may be, if it's going to resonate, it doesn't really matter whether you're playing country music or jazz music or whatever.
Right.
It's going to resonate with the people that have commonalities, and a good songwriter can find those commonalities.
Sure.
And if you think about like the really great ones, like What a Wonderful World. Mm-hmm. Think about What a Wonderful World. What is it? Is it a jazz song? Is it a pop song? Is it a rock song? It could be any number of things. Could the Rolling Stones sing What a Wonderful World? Absolutely. It's the lyrics.
Where was it written, dude? Like the 40s, 50s? We'd have to take ourselves back to that time to kind of start somewhere as to how to address that question is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you only had certain styles back then.
True, that's true. There was no...
I mean, but it's an interesting question nonetheless. But being relatable... is going to help you resonate no matter what. And that's why, for the same reason, a song can have good bones and can be interpreted as R&B and played in an R&B vein, or it can be interpreted as rock and be played in a rock vein. It still resonates because it is relatable. The lyrics are relatable. There's certain things that are the glue, you know, familiar chord phrasings, who knows. But I think that relatability is what's going to keep that person coming back, you know. And your style of music allows you to be, and your interest, your focus, is in the vocals, and it allows you to be very articulate with those vocals, and so you're able to express.
Well, I can't sing, Dave.
Well, yeah. Hey, look, maybe
I'll be the
you
first
could just
one to
enunciate well, you know. You in English like this. No, I'm just saying. But it allows you to be relatable.
This voice is no Adele.
You can push out a message. You can put out a message that's heard clearly, you know.
Yes, I don't make any. I certainly would never describe myself as a singer. That's for sure.
You're humble, and you pause on your own words because of your humility. But
I am lucky that I speak.
It's an endearing quality. That's all. Yeah.
I am lucky that I speak in the key of G. Yeah. Pretty close.
There you go.
So
ChrisVincent.com.
ChrisVincentNewOrleans.com. ChrisVincent.com was taken.
Okay, ChrisVincentNewOrleans.com. Are your shows, any performances listed there? Where can people find you?
Everything will be listed on ChrisVincentNewOrleans.com. Okay. And that's more like the nuts and bolts of the shows and the records and stuff like that. I would definitely point people to Chris Vincent Music on Instagram. That's the place that if something's going on, that's where it would definitely be.
Sure,
that's
more
where
time
it would definitely.
More
time. I put case in point. Tomorrow. I know this is going to air after the fact, but tomorrow A day after this, I'm going to play at Bratz, and Dean put up a thing today, so I instantly bounce it over to my side. So anybody in New Orleans that wants to come see me and Dean hack away tomorrow, they know it's there.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the Chris Vincent Music on Instagram, and also Chris Vincent Music on YouTube. Same thing. I got lucky with that.
Yeah. Good.
And Chris Vincent New Orleans is the one that the website for records and T-shirts and stuff.
Excellent. Thank you for your time,
brother.
man.
It was my true pleasure.
Absolutely.
My absolute true pleasure doing it. It really was.
Visit us again sometime, y'all.